In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a picture frame. I'm going to take you through the steps of making the molding out of a plain piece of lumber. I have a 3-step process that can be modified depending upon the tools that you have. That's quick and easy and safe. And then I'll show you how I put the frame together using a couple specialized jigs that I've made. Let's get started. Okay, so most of the picture frames that I make have a width of about 1 inch or less. So to do that, I take a piece of lumber, I'll plane it to the thickness that I want the width of the frame to be. And then I'll get the edge jointed squares so I have nice lumber to work with. Then I'll take it to my table or my router table, and I will select a bit that has the profile that I want of the molding. I can also do this other ways. I can use a hand router. Because the board's going to be nice and wide, I can run the router on the top of it. Then once that edge profile, or really the face of the frame is done, then I can rip this off and put a rabbet on the back of it. So now, I ran that through twice at the same depth, just to kind of clean up any place where I might have paused and cause a little bit of an irregularity. And now I'm ready for step 2. Now, the second step involves cutting the molding to the height that I want to have it. So I'll lay it down with the profiled edge to the fence. I've got my blade set to the right thickness, and now I'll run this through and get that cut. Now that I've got that ripped to the right height with the profile on it, I can take it to the table saw and cut a rabbet on the end of it. So I have a sacrificial fence put on here. I have a dado stack set up to the right width and height that I want the rabbet to be. Now you have lots of options on how you want to finish the molding. I typically will use a stain. So what I've done here is I've used Mohawk's Rich Tobacco. I've put a coat of that on, let it dry. Then I used shellac. I used an amber shellac because it gave me the color that I wanted, and put a couple coats of that on. Now, one thing you have to remember, a picture frame molding is not going to get much wear at all. So a wax finish, a shellac finish, lots of finishes that you typically wouldn't use because they're not real durable are perfectly fine for a picture frame. So now I've made my picture frame molding, I need to cut the molding to the size of the picture. One of the issues with making picture frames is the fact that the width of the frame, or the length of the molding you need, is measured not from either of the edges, but at the end of the rabbet. So how do you come down here and measure and cut that in? It becomes a little bit tricky. You can do it by just simply lining it up real quick, easy, and looking underneath the rabbet. But I have a jig that I built that solves a lot of these problems. Let me show you. So this is my jig. It's made mainly for smaller picture frames, but what I've got is it sits on the chop saw. It's made of 2 pieces, a back and a base. Now at the end I have a rabbet cut, and that is where I set it to set the depth of the chop saw. Don't want to cut all the way through it. And this chop saw, like a lot of them, has a feature where you can do a dado or something, and allows it to set the height. So I can set my height using this as a guide. Then with the chop saw set at 90 degrees, I can come in and I have a small cut in the back where I can come in and put my chop saw to line it up And then I'll use a clamp to hold it to there. Now, it won't go anywhere. I can set my angle at 45, and I can be cutting the frames. Now on this side, you can see I have some lines at 45 degrees that are lined up with this side. So what happens is, when you bring your molding in, now if I line that up to that number with the inside of that, when I cut my 45, that will be the length I need. Then I have this stop block. Now this is really pretty elementary. I just took a piece of red plastic, cut a 45 degree on it, and I clamp it in place with a little C-clamp. Probably can make that a little bit fancier, but it works. So whether I'm lining up with the laser with that line or using these lines, it doesn't really matter as much, because what I've got to do is I'm going to use a block to make sure it's consistent. This will work fine for small pieces, but when I have a larger piece of molding, I have this specialized stop block. Basically, I've built up the thickness so it'd be the same thickness as the jig itself. I have the same kind of 45 degree so that the molding would fit right into that and stop. So I don't have a measurement tool, and this isn't going to work for that, but what it will do is when I line up the cut and get it right, then I can apply the stop block so that it will repeat the same size. Really important is that both of your matching sides need to be exactly the same length. So here's what I'm framing today. This is that 70s era fine woodworking poster of the H.O. Studley toolbox. It's got a little bit of sun damage here at the top, but I have been looking for one of these posters for a number of years and finally found it. So it is what it is. I'm very excited to have it. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure the poster. I'm using an old wooden yardstick, but that gives me a nice, easy way to transfer the measurements to the molding. So that's about 25 7/8. By 18. Now, set this to the side. And I'll take my first stick of molding. Now, I've already cut the 45 on one end of the molding. And now I'm going to set, it's 25 7/8. So I'm going to set this at 26 inches. I want to give me a little bit of room right there on that inside. So this is the important part. I'm measuring to this point right here, because that's where the picture is going to lay. So I'm setting that at 26 inches. And I'm again marking here on the inside. Now when I take it over to my jig, I'll line that up with a laser and with the edge of the curve. All right, so I'm going to take off my marker here. Swing this to the other 45 and turn my laser on. Now, have that 26-inch number. Like I say, I can use my laser as a backup, but measuring it or lining it up with this kerf line also works. So, I've got that where I want it. Now I'm going to take my block and bring it right up to where it needs to be, and then put my stop block there. So that will keep me with a consistent piece using the stop block and this. So now, cut this one. The Kapex does have a feature that I like where you can turn the speed of the blade down, and when I'm doing this kind of work, I turn that blade down. Now I'll swing this the other way to get my other 45. Lay that into my stop block. Bring my blade back. And there I've got those pieces cut. Okay, so to glue this up, I'm going to use one of these pony frame clamps. They're inexpensive. They're about $35 or so. And I love it and I hate it. It works pretty well, but getting these corners set to the right spot can be a bit fiddly. And I don't like the way you kind of lose the alignment when you're tightening it up. So what I typically do is I'll take the frame, I'll set it in here dry fit like this, make sure I got everything to the right position. Now I'm going to take it out of the clamp. I'm going to tape the corners, glue it, get it all put together in with the tape. Then I'll set it back into the jig, tighten it up, and then that will hold it for drying purposes. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to put just a wee bit of glue on there, and I'm going to rub it in with this palette knife. It's a glue spreader. And then I'm going to let that set for a few minutes to, I guess you would call it sizing the corner. I've heard people talking about this. I don't know if it does any good or not, but it seems to make sense that since we're gluing end grain to end grain, putting the glue on there first like that and letting it soak into the pores allows that joint to then be able to glue better, because you've kind of filled in some of the pores that would suck the glue out of the joint. All right, so after a few minutes, we're going to just go ahead and put the glue on here that I want to put on for the joint itself. Sometimes the joints need a little coaxing, so I'll have to add a little bit more tape to the corner to get it to set the way I want it to. Now we put this in place. Get all my corners lined up. Now what you see here, I've put it on my MFT table and put some clamps down on each corner to hold it down and make sure it stays flat as it dries. So things have been really kind of crazy busy around here, and I forgot to hit the camera when I took it out of the clamps and finished up the picture. So it's already been framed. It is a temporary framing. It's got a piece of plexiglass in it for right now, and it's just on a board. I'm going to get this mounted, get some of the wrinkles out of it, and put some regular glass in it. But I have been so excited to get it in my office. I just couldn't wait. Now, I did add a mechanical fastener each corner. Sometimes I'll use just a nail, but when they're a little bit larger like this, I'll either put a spline across the corner, or I like these little Kakuri wooden nails. They come in a pack. They're tapered down. You drill a tapered hole, put some glue on it, drive it in, flush cut it, And then in this case, I did use a little stain pen to color that so you don't see it, and then it's all ready to go. Like I said, I have been looking for this poster for a number of years. Finally found it, got it in, wanted to get it in my office. So I'm gonna go put it in my office now. I wanna thank you for stopping by and see you in the next video.